Welcome back, Truth Seeker. February 8th, 2019, I put out a video showing how the story about Justin Fairfax, the lieutenant governor in Virginia, the story about him raping a woman at Duke, how that story was contrived news and was a riddle with the rigged world of sports, and how it foreshadowed Virginia in the college basketball championship game. And admittedly, I did think Virginia would face Duke. Instead, they ended up facing Texas Tech, who played Duke in Madison Square Garden, which is part of this riddle. But again, if you're following my work, I told people if I'm going to bet on this championship, I'm putting money on Duke and I'm putting money on Virginia. And if you did that, you definitely won, and Virginia was the better payout, so that was the team you would have wanted to win anyway. But check this out. Again, just in case you missed it, the news was February 8th, 2019, the day before Duke and Virginia played in the regular season. Justin Fairfax on this day was accused of raping a woman at Duke. Notice his birthday, February 17th. Happens to be Michael Jordan's birthday. But we pointed out that day, Justin Fairfax equals 85 like basketball. To the championship game, April 8th, 2019, which is today, is 59 days later. And Justin Fairfax equals 59. And 59, a very special number that connects to the word slave, Negro, blues. This year, 2019, will be the 400-year anniversary of slaves arriving in America, connected to the prophecy from Acts 7:6. So anyhow, we covered this story, why it was a big riddle, why it came on the day it did. And here we are, April 8th, 2 months later, and Virginia's won the championship. And they won with a number that I've talked about a million times. The first ever March Madness was an 85. Not by accident, basketball equals 85. When Nipsey Hussle died, I pointed out that it seemed that his death had something to do with this basketball tournament as well. Dying in Los Angeles, the city that's won the most college basketball championships. And it was reported that the night before he was at the Texas Tech game. Nipsey Hussle was born in 85. Anyhow, just basketball 85, Justin Fairfax 85, Virginia wins it with 85. Notice that the day after the Justin Fairfax story, February 9th, that's when Duke and Virginia played each other. Duke won that game with 81 points. We thought Duke would win that game. This was the 81st men's college basketball tournament ever. It was the 35th March Madness. 81st tournament all time, 35th March Madness. March Madness began in 1985 when they went to the 64-team bracket. But anyway, symbolic numbers. And we saw this right away. We said, yep, this is definitely a tournament riddle. And this is when I really locked into Duke and Virginia in the championship game. But notice Virginia lost with 71 points. That's important. Virginia equals 71. March Madness equals 71. 2 years ago, I said North Carolina would beat Gonzaga in the championship before the tournament began. And what it had to do with the bathroom bill news story. The All-Star game being taken away from the Carolinas due to the legislation known as the bathroom bill. Bathroom bill equaled 71 like March Madness, like Gonzaga Bulldogs, also connected to the Tar Heels. And the Tar Heels ended up beating Gonzaga with 71 points in the championship. So we used a news story from before the tournament to predict the championship correctly. And we practically did the same thing this year. Duke wasn't there, but, when you say in February, put your money on two teams to win the championship and you get it right, you're not half bad. So anyway, notice, that's not what I want. In tonight's game, Virginia with the win became 35-3. Again, this was the 35th March Madness. Not only did Virginia get their 35th win of the season, but they got their 35th tournament win all time. And follow me on Patreon, we talked about, this was looking extra good for Virginia when the bracket came around. We pointed this out before the tournament began. I was saying, look, if you got chips on Duke, make sure you're putting those chips on Virginia because that 35 is something else. Plus, 35-3, that's a lot like 353, the 71st prime number. And again, Virginia's 71, so was March Madness. In this game with Duke, they went down with 71 points. See how they did it? So let's talk about the other things. Texas Tech. They looked good to lose today for this reason. The 31-7. That's a lot like 317, the 66th prime number. The coach of Texas Tech is Chris Beard, 66. Texas Tech is in Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock, 66. We're going to get to how Charlottesville equals 98, and today's the 98th day of the year. And if you recorded the game tonight, I want you to go back and I want you to watch exactly what happens on TV when Texas Tech scores their 66 points of the game. The camera immediately goes to the gym in Lubbock where the fans are watching at the home campus. You got the fan with the big beard beating his chest in the camera. They do this stuff every single time around in the world of sports, and you know what to look for. You know, they weren't going to that gym all night, but right when they got their 66 points, they went right there, right to Lubbock. So Chris Beard, his birthday is February 18th. To his upcoming birthday is 317 days. That'll be his 47th birthday. Magic number. See how they did that? 317, the 66th prime. Texas Tech becomes 31-7. We'll get to why Texas Tech lost with 77. Notice Texas Tech took 63 shots in the game. Cavaliers 63, like how the Cavs advanced to the championship with 63 points. Virginia took 59 shots. I wonder why that was. 59 days after the Justin Fairfax story. Against Slave, Negro, Blues, Ross, all 59. Civil War over on May 9th. Had to laugh at the over-under to start the bidding, 118 points. Notice March Madness has the gematria of 118 as well. Virginia Cavaliers has the gematria of 89 and 118, just like Texas Tech Red Raiders. Perfect. Tony Bennett. Something we talked about on Patreon. When I saw that Tony Bennett was coming into the tournament with 89 losses, I really started to give them the edge over Duke. And I know I have all these troll operatives around me who are always trying to slander. Don't listen to the trolls. They're paid for disinfo. I guarantee you there's like I don't even want to know how much the budget is for the trolls who've been trolling me for 5 years around the clock and to spread misinformation, but they're already at it. Zach never picked Virginia, which is just complete bullshit. I told people before the tournament began, this thing right here with Tony Bennett at 89 losses, this is dangerous because Virginia and Virginia Cavaliers has the gematria of 89. This gave me, reason to believe, it might be Virginia who actually overtakes Duke. Duke ended up not even making it, but Charlottesville has the gematria of 89 as well. And from Tony Bennett's last birthday to the game was 311 days. That's the 64th prime. Notice Charlottesville has the gematria of 64 as well. March Madness 64. His full name, Tony Bennett's full name is Anthony Guy Bennett. He gets his first college championship, and the opponent goes down with 77 points. Chris Beard's next win will be his 77th win. Again, today's April 8th, the 98th day of the year. Charlottesville 98, Fairfax, Virginia 98. If you want another one, Texas Tech equals 48, kind of like the date 4/8, April 8th. These teams were meant to be here. Virginia's 114th season. They got it done in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And something else I told the people on Patreon was the day that the tournament began with the games that they call the first four, March 19th, first day of the tournament technically, you got this story of a charter bus crash in Virginia. And for people who've been around, it's usually train crashes, contrived hoax train crashes that they use for these sports riddles. This time they used a bus crash. And we've actually seen a bus before, but just year after year, they do this, the same tired rituals. And usually the state they happen in is the state that goes on to win the championship. So you get this Virginia bus crash, right? And they say all 54 passengers who survived the crash were hospitalized. And, then you read the article and it says 57 people. But anyway, we'll get to how all this matters. 57 is a big championship number. 54 is the number of points they lost with last year in the opening round versus the 1 seed University of Maryland, Baltimore County. For the record, that game was on March 16th, the first time a 16 beat a 1 ever. It was the 136th game between a 16 and a 1. If you add 1 through 16 together, it equals 136. Virginia Cavaliers also has gematria of 136. This is all part of the rigged ritual. Virginia gets humiliated last year in the first round to a 16 seed. Then the next year they come back and win the championship. Both years as 1 seeds. So it's all part of the scripted ritual. And that school was from Maryland last year. Last year was the 34th March Madness. Maryland equals 34. But anyway, so you get this 54 Notice they said the crash happened at 5:22 a.m. There's 60 minutes in an hour. So 5 times 60 is 300 plus 20 more, 2 more is 322. And what day was Virginia's first game in the tournament? March 22nd, 3-2-2 versus Gardner-Webb. And what's Gardner-Webb equal? 54. Last year, Virginia lost in the opening round with 54 points. Upset equals 54. They said the cause of this bus crash was heavy fog. Heavy fog 89, like Virginia Cavaliers. You know, both coaches when they came into this game were at 89 career losses. And Tony Bennett finishes the season on 89 career losses as a champion. Charter bus crash, what they called this, also sums to 241, the 53rd prime. Virginia's 53. 53 is the 16th prime. Notice Virginia won with 53 points in the Sweet 16, just like you had 16 points in the rigged Super Bowl 53, which, by the way, we called before the season even began. We knew the Patriots were a lock. Before the season began, we thought the most likely opponent was the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles 53, Patriots 53, plus a whole lot more. You know, Patriots 59th season, 59 the 17th prime, rematching the Rams from 17 years earlier, who went down with 17 points the first time they met in the Super Bowl. So anyway, learn the code, get ahead in the world. See through the propaganda-based news, see through the rigged sports, win a few coins along the way, you know. That's what I like doing this for. I like helping people win. And, you know, I did this completely for free for several years. Now I charge a modest price of $5 a month. You get sports picks every single day that are better than any other sports picks you can pay for in the world. That's literally a fact. You know, the best sports predictors in the world pick around 65%, and they charge a fortune. I do 65% or better every single month. Plus, I give championship after championship in advance when you can still get good odds and win some coin. You know, I gave people this Virginia pick February 8th, 2 months before. So, and that just adds to a long list of correct calls. So, haters can hate all they want. I just keep dishing the facts. Until next time.